Yo, let's go!
Harder Brunch presents the Meat Cake Invitational 2024.
That's right. This year we're doing it bigger, better, and harder.
It's going to be 10 chef teams, 10 edible works of art, and you help be the judge.
Yeah, you buy one ticket and then that allows you to be a judge.
It's going down February 25th at Half Liter. Tickets are on sale now at eventbrite.com.
I'm eating brunch with my people though. The homie Dyke just cooked up a feast and we bout to eat it, bro. Fucked around and has to mix the lobster with the poutine. Daddy is rolling blue dream, them boys got down a routine. It's Naptown culture, cooking 7 courses. Had to pass the torch and now I'm grabbing second portion. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a smoke. It's Harder Brunch on the way and get prepared for the jokes. Whoa.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels, and with me, as always, my co-host, Thaddaeus Mckee.
Slappy Pappy Wank Wank.
On the ones and twos, the wheels of steel, the sauce boss of Indianapolis, and the last broke dragon. Give it up for Zach Rohn, everybody.
Howdy do.
Thank you. And 2 very special first-time guests in studio from the restaurant Gather 22, Adam and Pablo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
Hello.
Welcome.
Very excited because for lots of reasons. One, I used to work with Adam when he was just a baby bartender.
Baby gay.
Baby gay. Back when he was a baby gay. And I always tell the gays, you know, like I can support during the day, but I can't support at night. I am not a night ally because those baby gays will burn it down.
You never came to Metro and Teeny with us, really.
I was in my late 30s. Like, there's a reason.
Okay, Lauren Ballard could do it.
Well, that is true. That is true. But you two just opened an amazing restaurant, which we had the privilege of going to a couple weeks ago. We took a guest here. So on Harder Brunch, we cook for the guest food. Those are words.
We cook for the guest food.
We cook a four or 5 course meal for a guest the first time they come on, and sometimes when they come back the second time, we like to take them out to some of the best restaurants in Indianapolis.
Sometimes we don't, though. So it is a grab bag.
Well,
sometimes you just get donuts.
Sometimes you get little to nothing.
they're talking about, we had a guest just recently and we were going to go to this fancy place and they ran out of food and we only had a donut. And so compared to this meal and to having a donut,
we also showed up at closing time. Let's not forget that part. Like we didn't just show up at brunch time and they ran out of food.
That is true.
We showed up at closing time and they're like, we're closed. But no, we went to Gather 22 and we brought our guests there, and I would honestly, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, and I'm not, you know me, I don't like to give a compliment if I don't have to. Everybody was blown away from the second we walked in the door. Mm-hmm. I knew it was going to be good, but even I was like, wow, like this is something special here. So Gwen is already like, when are we going back? Like I've made it part of my birthday plans because I saw that mimosa tree tower.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, all right, so my birthday week, we definitely have to come back here.
yeah.
Everything was great. I mean, literally from the ambiance to
The decor is awesome.
Yeah, to the service, your staff is great.
Well, right when you walk in, you feel like I'm in a place that's kind of special. Like I'm in a special place right now. Like some cool things happen here. And then like it's like a discovery like, as you go deeper into the restaurant. Like, oh wow, there's like things happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a place to gather.
I appreciate it. I love all of that. That was the goal.
You're doing it right.
That was the goal.
Now I know a lot. We'll get to Adam, but I know a lot of Adam's background. But what's your like restaurant service industry background?
Yeah. So I didn't go to college. I discovered the joy and gift of tipping culture in America.
Nice.
And I used to work retail briefly at Forever 21. Very chaotic. It's a lot of putting clothes back. But once I started serving, I started bartending and at this place called Islands. Has anybody been to Islands?
No, where's it at?
Most of them are in California.
Oh, okay.
They're
No.
Hawaiian themed burger restaurants, and they're really delicious. They're probably like a glorified
That
Red
Hawaiian burger.
Yeah. The Hawaiian mayo, lettuce, tomato, teriyaki, grilled pineapple. I still know every single burger
Oh wow.
because they just like drilled it into my head.
What was the best burger there?
Yeah.
The Kilauea burger with peppercorn crusted beef patty, French fried onions, jalapenos, sriracha aioli.
Now,
Are they paying you to say all of this?
No.
are they doing like tiki style drinks? What's the bar program there?
Tiki style drinks. So once I turned 21, I became a bartender there, and I ended up moving to Portland, Oregon with a band.
Oh,
And I
it's got real hipster real quick.
yes, exactly. One way ticket. We stayed in hotels for a little bit until somebody decided to rent us a house, and this was before a lot of the West Coast got even more expensive. But by the time I left, it was more expensive than when I was living in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I ended up getting a job at a speakeasy bar that was a part of the Ace Hotel. And I went in there with the biggest ego ever. I thought I knew I thought I knew everything there was about craft cocktails not craft cocktails, about bartending. And that's when I discovered the craft cocktail scene. And I was
You're like, I know how to make a vodka soda. Thank you very much.
Yeah. A lot of it was what we would call pump and dump, where you just throw everything, shake it, pour it right back in the glass, melted ice, all of that stuff. But that's what these restaurants are, like TGI Fridays or whatever. You just try to get the drinks out as fast as possible to the guests. But yeah, I ended up learning a lot about spirits, about brands, about this wild culture that was growing and is continuing to grow, which is craft cocktails. And it was I always tell people, it's like anything in life. As soon as I started putting my mind to it, as soon as I started actually taking my work seriously, all of these doors started opening. I started getting invited to compete in cocktail competitions, and I got flown out to New York to go compete. I got invited to London because I was voted one of the West Coast's most imaginative bartenders, and I still don't know what was super imaginative about it, but I did spend a good time imagining my time in London, which I didn't actually end up getting to go. But, it's like one of those weird things.
You're competing nationally. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was super, super cool. And I started competing here in Indianapolis with the Muck Cup, and I guess it's 2 years now. My first year here, I competed in Devour, and I got best tequila cocktail and ended up winning best overall Devour cocktail that day. So I won twice.
So was the competition less here?
The competition is way more intense here.
Oh, good.
Yes. I feel like there's this, you mentioned like it got hipster real quick. Yes, actually Portland did get real hipster real quick, to the point where it's not always the most inviting. And I love Portland, and I'll say that, everybody can understand, and we kind of make fun of ourselves for maybe taking things a little too seriously. So there's still some levity, there's still some fun here.
Well, Indianapolis is better. You can just say that.
Yeah. You know what? I've been having a really good time here in
Good.
Then how do you two meet?
He was my bartender.
Oh,
Literally.
Yeah. So
this sounds like an HR violation.
I didn't work there yet.
let me tell you a little bit about gay culture. Gay culture is Adam being on a date with another boy, coming into my bar, and then the person he's on a date with asking me for my phone number, and then we ditch that guy through a thread, and then the two of us hang out, and then we open up a restaurant in Indianapolis. And
if you would have given me 10 guesses, that wouldn't have been one of them.
Yeah.
But that's amazing though, because and I'll let Adam speak to it, but I know I've known him through craft cocktailing, and I saw you I mean you didn't really have a lot of bartending experience before you started there.
None.
And
I was literally 20 years old when I started working
you were,
at Hotel Tango.
you were a kid. And then I feel like you were like one of the top bartenders in the city, but like by the time you were done. But you are from a family of restaurateurs.
Sure, a little bit, yeah. My parents started Burns Grilled Pizza, the food truck, in 2011, so I was 15 or 16 years old at the time. But that wasn't really my family's dream at all. It was really just a accumulation of community and cooking at home, and my brother wanting to start something in the restaurant industry, and we started as a food truck with another local distillery and at Flat 12 on the east side.
It's now Natural State Provisions for you listening.
So it definitely wasn't exactly written in the stars from the beginning, but
that's interesting. So they kind of fell into it.
Yeah, I mean, I went to school for interior design. My mom's an interior designer as well, and they were in their 50s when they started entering the restaurant industry. But it's not that shocking because my grandma moved to Brooklyn, New York from Germany when she was 16 years old and opened a delicatessen with her husband, and my dad was raised literally on top of a deli. So, entrepreneurship runs.
It's kind of in your blood.
Deep. Yeah.
What was the inspiration for you? So you two are together in Indianapolis. You both have this, background. What is the inspiration to open Gather 22?
Well, I think we moved here with the intent of opening up a tiny little wine bar. We wanted something super small, something that would supplement Burns Grilled Pizza. There was actually a space vacant next to Burns, and we're like, well, let's just expand Burns. Let's build a tiny little bar. Maybe we'll knock down a wall. And somebody else ended up signing the lease on that space. So we were kind of just looking everywhere for a space. We weren't super sold on anything. There was a bunch of really cool spaces that would have taken millions of dollars to refurbish, a lot of really cool old buildings downtown, that sort of thing. And then I just remember driving past Gather, this mid-century, really ugly building, let's be real. It was like puce green and all of this sandstone, and we ended up touring it, and I remember being like, this is way too much space. This is huge. We found out that the basement was also a finished basement and was included at the same price, that the patio was also included at the same price. So we were basically just paying for the first floor of this building. And all of a sudden it ended up being like, well, we have offices in Broad Ripple. We make our own pizza crusts for Burns at another bakery downtown. Does it just make sense for all of us to move all of these operations there? And that was kind of it. It was like this, we just need to consolidate. And we kept on thinking about our role here in Indianapolis and what we wanted to create, what kind of legacy. And the one thing that we kept on going back to was kind of this interaction that we kept on having, where it was like, hey, we just moved here, and people being like, why? You're from LA, or like, why? You're from Portland. And I know Adam has his own reasons for leaving Indianapolis in the first place, but once we were here, one of the promises we made to each other was that if we were going to build a restaurant or any sort of business here, we wanted to create a space that we would want to hang out to. I feel like so many times we all leave our hometowns because it doesn't have what we want, or we go to cities that could provide us, whether it be safe spaces, good food, or the kind of entertainment, I guess, that we want. But yeah, I think creating a space that we would want to hang out in was the only thing we knew about the concept at the time.
I think you've done it. I think you hit the mark.
Thank you.
I'm very excited for the summertime because when that patio opens up, like I was out there on like a very cold day and I was like, I kind of want to be outside.
Yeah.
The fire pit and that bus out there.
Yeah, the bus out there. I was about to say that. Yeah. That's very exciting.
Yeah, tons of opportunity with the outdoor space there. We fenced it all in, so Dogs are welcome. Kids are welcome to run around.
Now, is there going to be a music vibe out there possibly?
That's the hope for sure. We had like 2 really warm days in October, and we already had one little live show out there.
Oh, nice.
But we have this big shipping container outside, so the plan is to fabricate that into like a stage where we can have live music on the weekends.
Oh, cool.
I really want to have like a summer movie series where we just like play movies one night a week. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of like a tea dance on Sundays.
It's a tea dance.
Tea dance is usually like it's like a queer dance party. So it usually happens like mid to late afternoon, midday, and it's just like brunch turns into a kiki kind of.
Yeah, a dance party. There's usually a DJ, a bar, and everybody just
Everybody switches boyfriends.
Not no. Not no. Depends how good the dance is.
Yeah.
That's how they crown the winner.
Have you ever lost your boyfriend to the Cuban shuffle? There he goes. There he goes.
I don't think it's dance off rules. You're coming with me, kid.
I've never Googled tea dance. That's fascinating.
That's what it looks like.
That's the craziest you got served I've ever seen.
It's a lot of fun.
Very, very, very impressed. Are you guys? I mean, and you guys are in it. Like, are you guys closed any day of the week or open every day?
Today, Mondays.
Yeah, we decided to open up on Mondays for a little bit.
It was just us two and my parents, and that's it. And Kendall helped us.
And some people did come through, but we decided very quickly, let's close again.
You need a day too. You need a day to just be human beings.
Yeah, and we're still running Burns.
Recharge.
Which,
oh wow.
You know, they're closed on Mondays too, so just helps us. We sneak in and clean up a little bit, and yeah, 7 days a week is hard.
Yeah, it's insane. And I'm very excited for you. I feel like sometimes I'm so burnt out of the industry, and then we had COVID.
Right.
But I do have this love for restaurants, and especially people that are doing things the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel like COVID's just kind of laid waste to so much that the people that survived and the people that have decided to open up stuff afterwards, I feel like a lot of them have I don't know, just hopefully more common sense, more. I love the idea that you want to make a place not only that you want to hang out at, but a company that you'd want to work for too, And I can tell because I know some of your employees.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I was like, how are they as bosses? And they're like, they're great. Yeah. They are great.
I'll take bad reviews on, the restaurant any day over knowing that our employees are upset with us or that we're not doing good enough for the people that work for us.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's like people say you need to separate business from personal things, but it's incredibly personal and it's difficult, but it's not about even our livelihood, because at this point it's just about us. It is about our livelihood because we're creating the community, we're establishing our roots here in the way that we want, but it is their livelihood, and we don't take that lightly. We want everybody to make a living, and they spend more time with us than their own families, so we want to make it worth it for them.
We've all had those bosses too that you just can't stand sometimes. So I put a lot of pressure on myself to not be that person, just be build a culture, build a place where people want to be friends with each other, and overall a positive environment.
Or try to, at least.
Yeah.
Plus, they got Facebook groups out there that all they do is just shit on people.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
This don't work for them.
Oh yeah. Because it is the day and age now. Maybe you can't yell as much as you used to. That's a real thing. Because if I thinking about when I was 10 years old, what it would be like to be a boss. I'm thinking about yelling. You're getting into it halfway for the yelling. Then
that's on the sitcoms and everything.
It's on the
boss
sitcoms.
is yelling at you.
The boss gets to break
coming
stuff
out of his ears.
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, the boss gets to pick up a glass, throw up against the wall,
cut your face,
and be like, "Hey, that's my glass.
Yeah,
now clean it up." You understand? That's the boss.
I mean, I remember working at a place on Mass Ave where at lunch service, like it was like a busy Friday lunch service, back when lunch was busy, and so the owners stopped us in the middle of like we were full capacity, stopped because someone had thrown away like some like crackers, because they were supposed to reuse the crackers if they didn't get opened, and like called everyone in the kitchen and was like, "What the fuck is this?" and like yelled at us over crackers. And I was just like, "This ain't right, man." Like, this is like, what? This guy's screaming at me. Like, I get it. I've also been a business owner too, and it's just like I try to keep that in mind. Even if I was having the worst possible day, I would just try to be like, "This is my job, not their," or like
they care about it less than you do because it's you have more.
They should,
into
yeah.
it,
Nobody should care about your business more than you, I think,
And that's scary. That's creepy when
It's
the
Creepy
love surpasses you.
business
No, yeah, when like you have a worker that like, is there anything I could do? Like I don't know.
Oh, like a single white female situation, like where they move in and replace you as the boss.
Yeah,
Like you have an employee.
I think you got to go a younger movie quote, like swim fan.
Oh, you're right. I did kind of swim. Where they swim fan you?
What was the black one? There was a black one with Idris Elba and the white lady that was trying to...
Black swim fan.
Black swim fan. That's what it's called.
These movies I haven't seen. Yes.
Is that the one with Beyonce? Like her first acting role?
Yeah, wasn't it Beyonce and Idris Elba? And then there was like a white girl that was like...
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Anyway, I digress.
What I'm saying is you can't yell like you used to.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And maybe that's good. We show more maturity. People want to feel safe.
What do you think we're losing by it, though, Thad?
By yelling?
By not yelling.
I think yelling shows it's a time thing.
Yeah.
Like it shows like, hey, like we don't have time to mess around with that. This is important.
Yeah.
Every time you're in the situation, I want this little bit of fear factor that you could really screw things up. Mm-hmm. So move fast. And I'm right for yelling because you're wasting money.
I agree.
I think especially like danger, like in construction. I grew up working construction. People yell, cuss at you all the time. But like it was for your benefit. You don't want like you're about to step in a manhole. We
got there. We got there.
Yeah.
Who had manhole?
Yeah. I had manhole on my video card.
That's what walk-ins are for.
Right, but you gotta yell like, "Hey, you about killed yourself! Quit walking backwards!"
Now you two are both artists, different kinds of artists, and obviously you can tell when you walk in together because it's put together so well. But what are your separate art backgrounds?
I went to school for interior design, but I actually started my art in pottery and ceramics. So yeah, I made a lot of the pottery in the space. I did all the light fixtures that hang on top of the bar, and a lot of the pottery you see on top of the bar as well. But yeah, I think space and how people occupy space is a form of art, and just seeing how people interact in a space. And there's a lot of ways to suggest creativity within that arrangement. And then, yeah, I don't know, painting. I've done some bartending, obviously. That's an art.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, my background's mostly in being starving for attention at all times. So I got my start in the theater and performing, and I write music, and I perform with a band. I had a brief stint as a drag queen, burlesque performer. I used to travel around the U.S. with a burlesque troupe.
What was your drag name?
That's what I was going to ask.
El Chupacabra.
That's
also Handela Cuervo, depending on how drunk I got.
And what was your song?
It was, so I used to play the guitar live and just do Amy Winehouse covers. So El Chupacabra was basically Amy Winehouse, but
I think you need to bring this back to some tea time party.
yeah, the El Chupacabra was because I wasn't very good at makeup, so I was kind of very scary looking. So, but I did have the beehive wig, and but if you do go to Gather, you see some of my paintings there now, and
Yeah, there's some cool ones.
yeah, a lot of these skills have translated over, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I've been hosting the events at Gather 22 lately, and I'm comfortable behind a mic, and Adam created a good space for me to live within. So it's, yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, hey, all of your skills, I know you could tap into something that's going to make you have a successful night.
Yeah, everything was building towards something, you know, like you take all those skill sets and be like, seriously, like when we were there for eating, when we were there for brunch, I'm not used to night brunch. I'm so tired. But when we were there, I mean, it was so much of the conversation is naturally flowed. It was like a Where's Waldo in there, just like, oh my God, look at that, and it wasn't like, oh yeah, it was all like, oh yeah, like Adam built that, like, oh yeah, like we made this.
I was super impressed about the ceramic light shades. I those look so good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It is kind of a testament and a love letter to the community here. So Adam did design a lot of it, but it also is showcasing the artists that we found here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, like
and giving them a
Fred
platform.
Miller. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah.
The Quantum Cave.
Oh,
Yep.
he just took that down. We're so sad.
Oh, you took it down?
Yeah.
You rented the idea.
Well, he was we feature a different artist every month. So we had Maud, I forgot her last name, but she was our first artist that was featured, and Maud Atlas.
Maud
Yeah.
Atlas.
And of course, Fred Miller with the Quantum Cavern was our second act.
I can't wait till I do
Artist.
mine.
Yes.
I'm just inviting myself. I'm just kidding.
What do you think yours is going to be?
It's gonna be third world theme.
Yeah. Just really bum everyone out while they're eating brunch.
Well, if that's how you feel about third world. Dang. Dang. Never mind. I actually am not doing it. You guys are assholes.
I guess I did walk into that one.
I'm just gonna laugh at poor people now. Is that what this brunch is?
Oh no.
Poor brunch.
Another thing that I was very excited to see when we went in there is you guys are pouring Tinker Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Tinker Coffee is a sponsor on this show,
Oh yeah.
and it's the only thing we pour in this house, in the studio. That
They've been-
coffee you're drinking right now.
It's so good.
It's
If
only
only
Tinker.
you could taste it.
Only Tinker.
Oh, that sounds delicious too.
It does.
Yeah, so this is our first time having a full-blown coffee program in one of our restaurants, and something that we're both passionate about. And yeah, I knew Tinker obviously from living here in the past, and they really were such a huge support in getting our program set up. We bought our espresso machine through them.
Nice.
And we must have met with Dylan at least a dozen times before we opened, and he helped train our staff before we opened. And not
Do
only is
you
the
two know how to
product
make
good,
all the
but-
drinks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
This might come as a
it's
surprise.
my dream job
but-
to just be a barista one day. Like I want to be at the base of a mountain, just waking up early, meticulously pouring a latte, and that's it.
So Adam used to stalk me at work
Shut up.
when I was a bartender, and I was also working 2 jobs because I was in my 20s.
Okay, you
And,
asked me out after I met you the first time, so
Yes, that's how Latinos work. We lock it down, we build the family.
and I'm a stalker.
But I also used to work at a coffee shop in Portland, and Adam,
I did stalk you there.
and it was across the street from Adam's job. Surprisingly. So he would come in all the time, but
On his route.
on his route. But I also, coffee is interesting because in Mexico, when I lived in Mexico, coffee is kind of a end of the day thing. You have it at night. It's usually brewed with a bunch of cinnamon, a bunch of sugar, and you have it with some sweetbread. Sometimes you pour it into your cornflakes at night. Oh yeah, also cereal is like an end of the night thing.
You put the coffee into the cereal?
Yeah, you put there's still milk in there.
Oh, okay.
So just like a
Just
splash
like
of
Cocoa
coffee.
Krispies.
Yeah, that's what I was
That
saying.
makes sense.
I don't think we had Cocoa Krispies in Mexico, or if they did, they were called something else, like Cocoa.
You got to finish it. you got to put a button on it.
Like Coquitos.
Yeah, there it is.
But yeah, it's extremely nostalgic for me. So I actually did put one of my mom's recipes on our coffee menu. So if you ever get the Tina's Mocha, that is a nostalgic sip of what childhood was like for a little boy like me in Mexico. so good. But
What's been the most surprising or challenging thing about opening a business?
I think just kind of settling into it all. Like, we worked so hard for like 8 months and spent every single day there, and it was so meticulous and so intentional, and so much of us went into it all. And for the first month or two, it was like I just couldn't accept that people were starting to like soak it in. Like, I just, the compliments, the critiques, the working with the staff, like, it was so overwhelming for me. But finally it's starting to just feel real. Like, it felt like I was somewhere else.
Yeah, like spending 8 months like just prepping that and like probably like wanting to tell everybody, but like maybe even having doubts that it's even going to go up, you know, like in like the middle, like that's crazy. And then just to see the payoff afterwards, like that makes it even more special.
I think we all like suffer a little bit from imposter syndrome from time to time, even though obviously you both have an extensive background in this sort of thing. Like, I feel like if I was building like a robot in a lab to open a restaurant, it would be like both of you together in your backgrounds. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. Like, the only thing about it that is kind of shitty is that
I've been training for this moment.
Man.
Let us have it.
I had such a good experience being there, and I know you guys are only going to get more popular and more busy, that there's a little selfish part of me that just likes it the way it was when I went in there. I didn't have to wait an hour in line. We was like went right in, and I was like, I want you guys to be busy. I want you guys to make all the money and be very popular. But there's a selfish part of me that's like, oh, I got in at the ground floor. Like, I got to see this secret thing in Indianapolis before it blows up. And it will blow up. It will continue to. I mean, I'm sure you guys have already seen it. But.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most surprising thing for me. Was I went into it being like, oh, we're the new place. We're gonna blow up. We're gonna be set from day one. And then the first few months were actually terrifying because it was not that way. It did take a lot of money and work to get the word out, to network, and even get people through the door, even get our friends and family through the door for the first time.
A lot of paid advertisements and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And embracing things that we usually don't, like influencers. Like influencers are our friends.
We're going to talk more later.
Okay.
I'm not saying here on the podcast. But there may be an influencer in this room. I'm kidding. Just trying to
check under your seats. Is there an influence? All right, let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
This week on the After Brunch Podcast.
First of all, I want to say Christy Yamaguchi, it looks great. She is aged
gets the Dyke stamp of approval
tremendously. She looks wonderful.
All right, now that we passed that, let's keep going this game. Dyke always approves at least one Asian per show that passes his body shape ratio.
That's it, just her.
That's what they're supposed to look like. That's what he just said. That's what he said. I'm not on the.
Join us at patreon.com/Harder Brunch.
Welcome back to the program. Welcome back. I'm very excited to talk about our sponsor, Smoking Goose. Smoking Goose, located at 407 Dorman Street, right across from Natural Provisions, actually. It's a great place to get... Nope, jump the gun. It's a great place to get all kinds of meats. Valentine's Day is coming up, and nothing says I love you like a nice charcuterie board. I've always said that.
Yes. We use their bacon at Burns Grilled Pizza.
Yeah?
Yeah, Smoking Goose for years.
I love it. I used to own a food truck, and that was always like all my bacon was always from Smoking Goose, and we use a lot of it on the show. The best bacon in the game, really is. Applewood smoked. But they sponsor our brunch breakdown. It's time for the Smoking Goose
Wah, wah.
brunch breakdown. Your heart wasn't in it the second time.
When I get told no, it kind of ruins the mood.
It's a sadder one.
So night brunch. This is our apparently our third one. So the theme was we were taking a stab at Korean food, which is outside of my typical comfort zone. So it was a real tightrope. I feel like I was walking back in the kitchen and being like, let's try something new. But that's one of my favorite things about this show is it continuously challenges like to do different stuff because we've been doing this for 5 years. So like we've done a lot of concepts, a lot of stuff.
Which is wild to still be impressed. Like before you go into it, like everybody was impressed. Like the presentation was amazing. You guys had fun. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was so delicious. Asian food is my go-to. Like, flavors that make me happy. And I was
awesome.
very happy tonight.
Yeah. So give yourselves a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Before
You guys
we
did great.
To the sauce queen.
Yes.
Sauce boss.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Queen
it's-
with a K.
It's Sauce Queen.
Sounded like
Queen with a K.
That was fire.
So the first course we did was pork wontons. Pretty straightforward.
So crispy.
they're so crispy, so fresh.
Yeah, they were.
Put all the sauce on it.
I was watching videos all day about like these really intricate like techniques for like shaping them, and I was just like, I'm not just gonna make like a triangle shape. I'm not just gonna phone it in with a triangle shape. And then I tried for about 15 minutes to make one of those into a little nurse cap, and then I was like, guess everyone's getting triangles.
We couldn't taste the difference. What was the sauce that we were dipping it in?
That was I can't pronounce the name of it, but it was a soy sauce based dipping sauce with
It had sesame in it.
Yeah, it did have sesame.
had some sesame and some what did you give me?
The gochujang.
Yeah.
Gucci gang.
Is that
Gochujang.
the new sauce? Is that the sauce people we talk about?
Yeah.
Gochujang.
That's the Korean sauce that I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Mm.
We
That's
have
why
that
you
on
liked
one
it.
of our dishes at Gather 22.
We have Korean sausages on our menu
Ooh.
Yeah. with a gochujang.
Is that on the brunch menu?
Gochujang.
Did I miss that? That's on the dinner menu?
aioli.
Only dinner. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hot mustard and kimchi aioli. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna have to come back at dinner time too.
Yeah.
To come back in the evening.
Dang, yeah.
And then Sauce Queen did a
I did a gimbap, which is like a sushi roll, except instead of like raw fish, it's like cooked marinated meat. And that one, it was beef, and then pickled vegetables.
gimbap.
Yeah, I know
I got you.
you've been doing that all week.
Oh no.
Now I noticed a difference. Did you like hold back on the spice? Because like, I'm not saying
And the
it
salt
was-
and the flavor.
Did you hold back on everything? Trying? No. Did you hold
Did
back
you
on
mean
the?
to make a monochrome?
All I
plate
got
of
was
food?
air.
Yeah.
I'm asking like because I feel like you can make stuff spicy if you want, and you can make stuff.
Was it supposed to be spicy?
I'm not saying it's supposed to be anything.
Oh.
I'm saying
Okay.
that.
Did I intend for it to be the way
I
I
was
tasted?
expecting it. I was expecting these
that's what I
pickles
was
to
aiming
be
for.
good. You did a great job doing that. I liked it.
It was great.
I liked how because I was afraid, these pickles are going to burn my mouth, and then
Wait, was this a legit compliment?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
But you're bracing so hard.
I
that
mean,
you thought I was going to come at you and
you
say
came at it from behind, basically.
I always come at it from behind. They call me behind Thad.
Yep.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah. Then also I had the next the next course, which was a barbecue pork terrine. In the middle of it, I had a little bit of braised pork belly, and then some pickled cucumbers, radishes, and sticky rice.
That one was my favorite. It was so good and hearty.
Yeah.
I want more.
Like a baby meatloaf with extra meat inside.
Yeah, that's I said with the pickle and the pickle and the terrine, it was almost like a Korean like hamburger.
Makes me want it in a meat cake.
Mm.
Maybe.
Sorry, did I ruin it?
Spoilers.
Did I break everything?
Podcast over.
And then the dessert was the
Wait, time out.
yeah.
You had a sauce with yours too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you make your sauce?
Yeah. I mean, it was basically the same, like 5 ingredients in a different ratio.
I mean, I made my sauce, Dad.
So I think I had rice syrup in mine.
Rice syrup?
Yeah, in addition to the other things.
So that makes it a little bit more thicker.
Yeah. Instead of like putting sugar or something like that. And I had some rice vinegar as well.
So I've been trying to think about how to have the best Korean like sauce. And like Dyke's had some of that flavor. Is there a way to put paste in it to make it thicker? Because I'm trying to recreate a sauce.
Well, yeah. I mean, the chili is like a paste.
So you can add more of that.
Yeah, and it's not very hot for like what is a chili paste, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you can almost just use that as a dipping sauce because it's sweet and everything.
Yeah.
And so I would start with that as your base and then thin it out with like your vinegar or your whatever else.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Next time, just do that. I'm kidding.
Welcome to Food Critiques.
That's what's wrong with it. All these extra parts.
See, you knew how to get there.
And then the dessert was the Dalton cookie, which if you've seen the program Squid Games, that was one of the games that they had to try to take a needle and try to get the little shape out without breaking the cookie. And I'll tell you what, those things are so delicate that like even getting them off the tray, I immediately broke one. But it was pretty cool. I think I blew Zach's mind that it actually came together.
So when we went into it, he said what he was going to do, and I thought to myself, no fucking way. And I was so shocked and impressed when it came out. Like, it was a very cool little recipe and technique. And yeah. But yeah, I was very surprised. Because it's just sugar and baking soda.
Yeah,
Like-
it's literally just mainly sugar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Kind of like a caramel little wafer.
I didn't know until today that because I obviously have made a million simple syrups and I've made candy and I've made caramels and stuff. I didn't realize that you could just put sugar and heat it up without any kind of moisture in it and it would turn to liquid. I know, but I feel like I guess in caramel, isn't there always a little something
Like
base?
milk or something.
Yeah, there's always a little liquid base. I never thought that just with no liquid, and I was like,
Do a thing.
I was reading the recipe, and then I was like, I have to ask a question I really don't want to ask right now. I was like, can I ask a question without you making fun of me? He's like, nope, I will not make that. I will not make that concession. But yeah, thank you so much for coming and eating. Hope you enjoyed.
It was so good.
Now, you said you had opinions on how eating up there was. What was that like for you?
Oh, well, I said it was so nice because usually we're cooking for everyone. So it felt like I was just hanging out at a house party, which you were, or at a dinner, which we haven't had time to do anything that's remotely normal. It's always been hospitality for other people. So it was really amazing. I didn't even have to pour my own drinks.
Yeah, that part was weird.
Yeah. I actually tried to take the bottle of bubbles away from Thad. I was like, do you need me to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get alcohol away from him nowadays.
I was like, can I have a splash?
These are all mine. Don't touch my glass.
I think you've had quite enough.
I just didn't know when it was starting. I didn't know what the itinerary was.
We haven't
day.
started yet. We'll tell you when it starts. You'll know when it starts.
All right.
So do you think we needed like more? Did you need more information coming in, or did you like the mystique of
I
it?
just got like a sketchy address sent to me through Instagram.
Oh wait. Okay, so we did want to get into this.
Yes,
so me
that
and
is
Thad, Dyke does a very good job booking guests. We get to meet some of the most interesting people in the city, and I have never really seen what that email interaction or whatever message interaction looks like. And so what is that like on your side of it? Are you getting like a, hey guys, we'd like to have you on the show. We're going to make a 5-course brunch for you. We're going to sit you.
Not even close.
Okay, this is going to take 3 to 4 hours. No.
One message said a few hours.
A few hours. Just kind of
And I
leave that
just
vague. Wouldn't want to give them a number or anything to plan.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't just have 6 hours to throw at something, right?
I have so much time on my hands. It's insane.
Yeah.
When you hear a few hours, how many hours are you thinking?
3 tops.
Yeah, a few is 3, I think. That is that is fair. Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah. It's a lot of time.
I think we do need to make a frequently asked question. I think honestly, I assumed that you knew a little bit
we know
more.
each other.
So I thought you were a little more familiar with. I didn't know if you maybe not listened to it, but I thought maybe you had heard
I have
about it a little bit more.
I listened to the one most recently with you guys and Eddie Som a couple weeks ago, while I actually had an hour to hang out and look at myself in the mirror and shave for once in a week,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is nice. And I was wonder what this experience would be like. But
Sure.
I had no idea that it included food.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or that it was, I don't know, in this amazing studio. I also thought we would be lined up in a linear fashion, not looking at each other. I thought it would be more SNL vibes, where they're at the table.
Oh, it's more intimate.
This is nice.
When we do,
like it.
every once in a while we do live podcasts, and we kind of have a setup like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
this
I
is
like
better,
this.
for conversation.
Yeah.
And I want to say, good choice on picking Eddie Som. I feel like I don't want this to be a critique or anything bad, but a food nepo baby, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that the right
A
term for
food
it?
nepo baby? What
Well,
the fuck are you talking about?
Their
It's like a food baby. But
their parents or
Second generation
Oh,
restaurateur.
okay.
No,
Okay.
honestly, shout out to Eddie Som, because while we didn't talk a lot directly with each other throughout the process of opening up Gather, my dad talked extensively with his father, and we were in a lot of text threads with
Really?
them, and just a lot of feedback back and forth with, what do we do with getting a beer tower installed, or what's the best way to save costs here and there.
Oh, wow,
And
yeah, that's
he was a
awesome.
huge help to
great
help us save
resource.
money. And yeah.
It's real interesting doing this show and realizing that there's these kind of restaurant dynasties, you know, and there's these certain people that have been around forever and they just do it, and then they'll kind of birth out a bunch of people that will go out and open up stuff like Recess. A bunch of people left Recess and open up Bluebeard and Milktooth and a million other things, and so it all seems to go back to these kind of 5 different families. It's very, very cool. Very Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think I want to kind of go back to just us working at Tango together for a minute. I felt like when we were there, we were the center of the universe in this way. I don't know if it was working with Vanessa.
Yeah. Well,
But it was
she's got a lot of main character energy.
and it was me, coming into my 21-year-old self and stuff. But it was such a fun experience, and I want to thank you for putting up with me throughout that time, because I was a lot to handle. But yeah, moving away and leaving Indianapolis behind in this weird way, and being able to come back and create something similar to that experience, where yes, I'm 7 years older, and there's a lot of other young baby gays out there, I'm sure, that are looking for something like that experience, and creating that again.
Are you ever working on a Sunday and you just see a group that's just a hot mess, and you're like, I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember those Sundays.
absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, it's just that's a mind trip a little bit.
Those were wild times. I feel like I've had a few jobs, I have different phases of jobs, but Hotel Tango for me was, I thought I had the food truck, and I thought I was gonna be a restaurateur the rest of my life. And so starting at Hotel Tango was the most humbling thing, because it was the first time I realized I wasn't just gonna work for myself for the rest of my life. And I had to go back and be I had a culinary degree I had my own business. I had a decade plus of food service and bartending experience. And then I started at Tango as, I think, a busboy the first night. I think I did busboy and doorman. And then I did prep for a long time because I just needed a job. And I just needed someplace that I could also like leave in 3 months, you know?
Yeah.
And so I really had to like work my way up. And I remember finally being like, I got to bartend or I'm going to shoot myself. Like I have to do something here. And, but it was the Wild West. I mean, it's funny to see where they're at now versus where they were, you know, like starting a new company and, yeah, a lot of characters went there.
Absolutely.
That was the place to go for a while too. I mean, I haven't been there. Well, I guess I was there like a couple months ago, but that used to be the spot to hang out all the time because we had open mic like that
down
was
the street,
right down the street. And then if you were done,
dugout.
yeah, you could go over and drink, or you could drink there before, and then vice versa. So that was the place to hang out. And you did wear. I remember you said you had like. Did you have like fishnets back in the day?
Probably, yeah.
Because I might have gotten the idea from you.
Right.
Oh, you were Fishnet Summer started?
Oh, yeah. I started
Wow. It all comes full
that only
circle.
knew one gay, and that was you.
I was like, well, yeah, I tried to pull this thing called Fishnet Summer, where I was trying to get all my friends to wear
Should've called me.
fishnets. Yeah, you were gone. You were
I had a flown back.
you were out east maturing. But yeah, and then very few people wore fishnets with me that summer.
Yeah, it didn't catch on.
But speaking of
We can try this summer.
speaking of nets, meat cake,
Ooh,
the meat cake competition. We talked about that upstairs.
swoosh.
The internet.
What did they have to do in the net?
That was a lie transition.
That wasn't a transition.
Where you transitioned with a lie. And you guys know what nets are about. Meat cakes.
Yes.
It's not even true. You talked about it with some interest. You're like, man, like how do you get into that? And you're an artist. You know food. Do you think you could compete in such a competition?
That's a hard yes.
Oh,
Yeah. I think, yeah, I have all kinds
Slow
of wild
blink.
ideas. Also, Adam's slow blinking because he's like, with what time, Pablo? But I've
For some
actually-
reason, when I think of meat cake, I'm thinking of Lady Gaga and her meat dress.
Oh, that's a meat suit.
yeah.
But like, I want to now imagine, like when we were talking about like piping with mashed potatoes, now I'm thinking like elegant cake that looks like a nice wedding cake but tastes like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Casey, can you bring up any photos?
Well, that's the
like
thing. Our
previous years?
friends went to this, and they've gone to this in previous years, and they still talk about it. That's how we heard about it. But it's such a spectacular event.
I feel like the hardest part for me is properly articulating how
What it
amazing
is.
what it is, because on the one hand you have these amazing, I call them the edible works of art, because I always try to tell people that it's about the size of a wedding cake but made out of meat. And so I think people's first thought when you think about that is like, a lot of people are like, that's gross, you know, like I know that doesn't, but these are some of the best chefs in the Midwest, and
That deviled egg,
and they're all trying to outdo each other, and it's definitely something where
Like that.
I mean the first one was 100% just to spite each other, right?
Yeah. I mean, like all of our best ideas, there was a lot of spite involved.
that's how the potato chip was invented.
Out of spite?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Tell us.
somebody ordered potatoes and they wanted it sliced thinner, and then the chef was mad, so he sliced it as thin as possible, and then the guy loved it.
And fried it.
Yeah, and then potato chips were invented, and I saw potato chips on that cake, so full circle.
That was this was this is Chef Bridget, and she's a baking and pastry chef. Like that's her background, and so she literally
She did like 3 cakes.
3 different styles of cake last year for meat cakes.
One of them was topped with like duck fat fried potato chips. That's what those were. Those were delicious.
That's one person's entry.
That's one person's entry.
It really is
Sick.
crazy the kind of like the kind of skill that goes into some of these things. I mean, Ashley Brooks made some madeleines last year that had like pork in them, and then they had like a mousse, like a liver mousse on top. They were awesome.
like he won the first year. The first year was just 3 of us, and like before we started selling tickets to it. But his cake was a crab cake that was like the size of a hubcap, and it had like beef tartare on it, and it had these like salmon roses, and it was so outside of the box of what even like what we were thinking, like me and Bridget were thinking. And it completely swept. Yeah, completely swept. We were just like, oh my gosh. And seeing that was like, oh, there's a world out here of meat cake building.
Yeah, it was kind of like unlocking a door like Narnia. Like, wait, this is a world that exists that we could all play. Yeah, Zach's killed it. And it tasted really good. I kept going for seconds for that.
Yeah. So what is the judging criteria for it? It's obviously appearance, taste, and is it originality or
creativity is a big it has to be a meat and cake, so it has to kind of fit within that. And you can like cupcakes count, right? Like you can play around with that. It's got to taste good. I feel like there's some it's better if there's some continuity, like, or a through line to it. I don't know if that's a technical requirement, but creativity is definitely like what we'd like to emphasize. Just to kind of, because last year we ended up giving some guidance that lent more toward like maximizing meat. Like the more meat in it, the better it was.
Where like you had to have a certain percentage of meat.
Yeah.
But I feel like that stifles creativity, because then people are like, oh, I have to like meet this criteria. No pun intended.
Do you think there should be more pictures of the meat cakes on the website or whatever?
No.
Or do you think it's like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I like the mystery.
Yeah, the mystery, because like it could be anything.
Yeah.
Every year. I like that too.
Like,
Adam just wants an address. A sketchy address.
Do you like the mystery or do you not?
right? I'm
just think
confused. What do you want?
for some reason, I just think of the smell in the room.
Heavenly. I could already smell it.
Of the meat cakes? Oh, it smells wonderful.
Yeah.
There's different. I mean, there was an octopus last year. Dead.
There was.
There's a dead octopus last year.
You're not. Nothing was smelly. That's what I wanted to get at.
Oh, that didn't really prove my point.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
Hey, nothing's gonna smell. There's dead octopuses.
I mean, there's always a dead octopus in the corner of every event that we do, but
this guy runs in. Has anybody seen my teacher? No, my octopus.
Yeah, I got it.
Have you guys submitted this on like the Food Network?
We should.
We should. It'd be nice to get somebody to like financially back.
I think this is our fourth one.
Yeah, the 5th annual year.
Well, and what really
get Guy Fieri there?
Wait.
We're talking meat cakes.
what really took off last year is, I mean, we every time we've done it live, it's that the meat cake is the focal point, but then there is this pageantry that we put it behind it, because it's like we do take this. I love nothing more than taking something really goofy very seriously. And so it's like we take this wacky idea and then we execute it like
to the highest
with 100% seriousness.
Yeah,
and
we have practices every week.
We do. We run drills
and practice our meat cakes because
you never know.
We've got
cake competition.
Yeah. But then Thad he's the front of the house because we're actually competing. So like Thad is actually running the event, and he has put this pageantry into it where it's like almost like carnival, and we have some great like visual artists coming. So we have these people. They make mosaics out of tiny Rubik's cubes. So there'll be like 1,000 Rubik's cubes, and they'll do like a portrait, but they have to solve the Rubik's cube for each one to like make it like the right shape or whatever.
Cool.
There may or may not be some ballet this year.
On point.
DJ.
There's gonna be a DJ for sure.
And then a lot of people selling art. Our friend Kat is going to be selling art there. With like spotlight a lot of local artists and stuff like that.
My mom will be there selling art.
Dad's mom's going to be selling some art.
Not a joke.
So
not a joke. Please don't laugh at her.
We agreed at the meeting that was going to happen.
So
did we not?
So your ticket gets you basically 10 courses of meat cake. and then access to this really fun party, basically, and opportunity to buy some. I think there's going to be somebody who's going to be doing like a live mural, and we're going to auction it off at the end. So there'll be
a sacrifice.
There's going to be a blood sacrifice.
Now, not like a crazy.
It's not like the movie Mother.
It's a criminal. It's not a good person. Is what I'm saying.
That's okay then.
Like what kind of criminal?
They've done bad things that
Like
things
Fiona
that you don't
Apple
want to
criminals.
happen again. That's why we're offing them.
Things you don't want to happen again.
All right. Anyways, moving on. Maybe we'll take that out.
The whole second half.
If you're coming to the meat cake and you're expecting a sacrifice of a criminal who's done bad things, and you don't see it, then we ixnate it for some reason.
What are you guys excited about for 2024 with Gather?
Honestly, more of this. It's cool to meet the makers in this town. Cool to meet the artists and actually spend some time collaborating, I guess. I don't know. Just getting to spend time with people since I just moved here. It's nice, and it's cool to see the creatives and the supporters of artists and community come out of the woodwork to feel like part of the team.
That's honestly one of my favorite things about doing this. And, we just talked a green mile about meat cakes, but it definitely, it came out of the fact that I know all these super talented people, and we all get a little bored with our day to day, or at least we all have these skill sets that are so much more than just what we do every day. And so like getting all these creative, artistic people together and just being like, hey, like, why don't we do this? And then also, I just love putting people over that I like what they do. Like all of our sponsors on the show, like I love Tinker Coffee. I love Upland Beer. You know, like I love Smoking Goose. And so like when I can be like, oh, I can have my friends from Gather On. Like we had this amazing brunch. We had a good time. Like there's zero spin in this. Like if I didn't have an amazing time, I wouldn't have invited you onto the show. Like so, I love just being able to promote. And I think you guys have such a great opportunity with that space to do some really cool stuff and branch out however you like.
I feel like last year for us was like the year of planning, and this year I'm like just super excited to do everything. Like so many events outside this summer. We've already had 2 great events this week. We just had a latte art throwdown, which was super, super epic. We had a speed friending event this week.
Ooh, is it like spilling the tea or the tea dancing?
Almost. No, it was like
we wanted to do speed dating, but it was hard to figure out people's preferences. So we're like, well, let's just take the pressure off and make it about friends.
Speed friending.
Yeah.
And then if it goes anywhere else,
that's your business.
That's your business.
Yeah.
like that. Right.
Well, actually,
so you go there to get friend zoned.
Yes, literally. But
Okay.
if you make a friend and you come back for Valentine's Day, you get 10% off.
So if you get in zoned,
Oh.
then you get 10% off. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Are you guys doing anything special for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a 3-course prefix menu. So, I mean, our first year is a lot of just testing what works and what doesn't.
Sure.
This time we're trying to see what works for Valentine's Day. So we're going to not do our regular menu, our entire menu. And we have oysters, we have filet mignon, we have a lot of
Cake
pops being made right now. But yeah, it's been super
so fun.
My mom's enchilada recipe as well. Tina's mocha and some enchilada. You can have my childhood. For the low price of $79.99.
That's the selling point. Taste my childhood. Only at Gather. Can you drop a beat for me there, Sauce Boss? Pablo and Adam, thank you so much for coming on the program today. It was so much fun. Where can people find and follow Gather 22 online?
At Gather Indie is our Instagram account, which is where we post everything that we do, as well as our website at www.gather22.com.
Oh, and I almost forgot to mention a super Instagrammable spot. Like if you are those bougie influencers and you want to go and just, take. Remember when people would come in Tango and order drinks and take pictures and then just leave?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even drink the drinks. Yeah. That was my first introduction to like real influencers. I was like, that's insane. Daddy's Jake.
Not insane because we want to work with influencers. It's actually smart. And it's the right thing to do. More people should be taking pictures and leaving it. Alcohol's not that good for you anyways. Just take the picture and then leave.
That's like a new diet you could start. The picture diet where you just take pictures.
The camera eats first and only.
The camera eats first and only.
Yeah. You guys can find me at Thad Mckee. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Threads.
Zach Rowe.
And if you've got $3 a month, then you can unlock extra episodes of the After Brunch podcast. That's patreon.com/Harder Brunch.
And our video producer apparently went to the bathroom, but you can find them at Danger Brewer online, and I'm at Dyke Michaels across all social media. Thank you guys for listening, and make sure to buy your tickets for the 2024 Meat Cake Invitational, and make sure you make your brunch and or Valentine's Day and or dinner plans at Gather 22. It's really, really dope. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.